Charles Oliveira said what? Charles said what? Later this month, you already know we're going to have Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira because Islam Makhachev had to run away from a fade. So now we're going to have to see Charles Oliveira take Islam's back fade for whatever reason, and he's going to have to be put on a stretcher. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't want to hear Charles' jiu-jitsu is really good, guys. Dude, he got mega choked out by Islam. Islam couldn't even choke out a small 45er twice. He was in there with him twice, and he couldn't even choke him out. Okay? He's not going to choke out Ilia Topuria. Charles Oliveira went 25 minutes with Michael Chandler. 25 minutes with Michael Chandler. Paddy Pimblett went out there and nuked Michael Chandler. Paddy Pimblett could barely finish Tony Ferguson. And you guys really think that Charles has a chance? Okay, cool. So Charles Oliveira was on an interview with Full Violence today, and this is the direct quote. I hit harder than Ilia for sure. Listen, I think Charles Oliveira might have got early CTE. I think that the fear and just the fear of the brain damage that's going to be incoming has already settled in some mild CTE for Charles Oliveira. There is no possible way that you think that you can hit harder than Ilia. Brother, you don't even hit harder than Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett hits way harder than you. Can we just get that off the list? Paddy Pimblett, a dude who took old wash Tony Ferguson to a 15-minute decision, hits way harder than you. Look what he did to Michael Chandler. You were on Michael Chandler's back for about 4 minutes of that whole fight and did absolutely nothing. Your jiu-jitsu is good. I'll give you that. But recently, brother, it's been going downhill. For real. Ilia Topuria has a fucking trail of bodies that he's left behind at 145, taking out Volkanovski, taking out Max Holloway, Bryce Mitchell. The names just go on. The dude is literally undefeated. Islam Makhachev, the champion of 155, the quote-unquote pound-for-pound GOAT, ran away from the biggest money fight of his career. As a champion, you get pay-per-view percentages. You get a percentage of the pay-per-view buys. Okay? I know that Islam-Dustin fight didn't do very well. That's a fact. Okay? That's a Fendi fact. Nobody wants to see 35-year-old Dustin Poirier fight Islam Makhachev. But to be fair, you took him to the fifth round. You took him to the 5th round. We're talking about Ilia. Let's get off of Islam. So, Ilia Topuria, later this month, obviously is going to fight for the vacant lightweight belt. So is Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira has absolutely zero chance. I'm gonna say it. Clip it. Charles Oliveira has an absolutely 0% chance of winning. He does. Barely finished Michael Chandler. He didn't finish Michael Chandler, but he barely made it to decision with Michael Chandler. Let's be for real. Got barely scraped by Arman Tsarukyan. Barely, okay? Choked out by Islam. This is just off the top of the head. Those are your last three. Hey. Ilia Topuria's last three. Max Holloway, Volkanovski, Bryce Mitchell. I don't think Bryce Mitchell was in his last three. I don't think so. I could be wrong. But Charles Oliveira, sure. Your jiu-jitsu game is good. If it goes to the ground, it might be spooky. But Ilia has great jiu-jitsu. He was over here talking about, I'm going to Darce choke Islam Makhachev because it is his favorite submission. That is the type of confidence I want to see. When you were supposed to fight Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira, you decided to get choked out in the second round. Then you pulled out 4 days before the fight because you had a cut over your eye that could have been easily glued shut, and nobody would have known that even happened, but you decided to pull out of the fight. Islam ran away from Ilia. You ran away from Islam. You did. Now, I'm in total shock that they decided to give you this fight, but Arman wasn't going to get it. My boy's pulling out of fights because he wants to hang out with Nina Drama and shit like that, so Arman wasn't going to get it. Justin has less of a chance in beating Ilya than you do, because Justin has absolutely zero ground game. At least you have some ground. Oh, I'm not trying to disrespect the boy, but like, you have some ground game. You know what I'm saying? Justin absolutely does not. So you definitely have a higher chance than Justin, but your chance is still absolutely zero. I don't want to hear, oh, Ilya's small for 155. Volk is small for 145, and he still went out there and took Islam to a 25-minute close decision on a full camp. Don't talk about him taking this on short notice. We're not going to talk about that. We're not, because we fuck with Volk. But I'm just kind of thinking about why I have to witness one of my favorite UFC fighters get put on a stretcher because one of my most hated UFC fighters, Islam Makhachev, the most unactive champion since Khabib, decided to run away from one of the biggest fights in the sport. So now they have to throw a body in the fire because the fire is hungry. Okay? Charles, I'm sorry that it's come to this, brother, but you do not hit harder than Ilia Topuria. I forgot that that's what we even started talking about. You do not hit harder than Ilia Topuria. I mean, I can make up 1,000 fucking examples on why you do not hit harder than Ilia Topuria. But it's only a few weeks away. It's like, what, 3 weeks away from now? I'm making this on the 12th of June. Like 3 weeks away. We're going to see. We're going to see. Anyways, boys, Charles, good luck, brother. That's all I have to say to you. Good luck. Ilya, yo, after you're done taking out Charles Oliveira, rest in peace, Charles Oliveira. After you're done taking Charles out, please, if Islam ends up beating JDM, go up to fucking welterweight. Go up. Fight for that triple belt. Be triple champ. Be the first triple division champion in the UFC, and then also take out the #1 pound for pound fighter. You would literally be cemented as the GOAT. Literally. You are 2 fights away from being considered the greatest MMA fighter of all time. If you knock out if you knock out Charles Oliveira, and then move up to welterweight from 155 to 170 and fight Islam Makhachev. If he wins. If he doesn't win, if Islam loses to JDM and moves back down and fights Ilya for the 155 belt, I'm not taking no points off you, but it would be a lot better if you went up there and got that the 3rd belt. Go up there and get the 3rd one, and then honestly, you could call it quits. Fuck it, there's nothing else you could do. Losses would just ruin it. It would. You want us to end your story when you're at, in the middle. A dude like E-Rock doesn't even finish shows, okay? Once I get to a part where I feel like the end is coming, I make up the ending in my mind and I shut the show off. That's some real spill. For real. Do that next time. Next time you're watching a show, okay? And you like the show and you love the characters. When you're like middle of the last season, turn that shit off. You can make up the ending. The ending that you make up in your mind is way better than any ending that Netflix can throw out there. Let's be for real. This video, I was going to say was sponsored, but it is not sponsored, but we are drinking. Hey, we're drinking. Anyways, boys, E-Rock's out of here. Charles Oliveira, brother, good luck. Ilia Topuria, you are 2 wins away from being the greatest fighter of all time, brother. Please keep that in mind. Please. I'm out of here, boys. Peace out.